schedule in the country, and they're playing some of their best basketball here inside of league play. They've won 4 in a row and have won 3 straight against Georgia Tech in the opening tap, controlled by Zoesha Smith and the Yellow Jackets. A Sunday afternoon in Midtown Atlanta. Will Tech pick up their first win over Duke in nearly 5 years?
And when you're this Duke team, you go to South Carolina and you lose by 11, but when you're going into Columbia, South Carolina, and you're losing by 11, that's pretty good. That's how much talent they've seen in the non-con schedule and in the ACC.
Yeah, both these teams with 3 top 25 wins as Morgan takes it. Offensive rebound, and there's Zoesha Smith, a quick 2. She didn't score on Thursday against Virginia. We'll look at the Duke starting lineup, a quick 3 from Ashlyn Jackson. This is the same starting 5 the Blue Devils have used all season long, 21 straight.
That consistency is so helpful down the stretch in the season, especially when you're getting into tournament play. Having that knowledge of each other is so helpful.
Chit Chat Wright inserted into the starting lineup for the first time a few games ago as Kara Dunn cutting towards the hole. And here's a look at Georgia Tech's starting 5. Wright, just a freshman. She stepped in for Inez Noredo in the starting lineup a couple weeks ago when Georgia Tech was in South Bend. Not bad making your first career start at Notre Dame. The rest of this lineup has been pretty consistent this year.
That's a pretty tough game to get your first start in.
Morgan tries to go up and under at the end of the shot clock. She's got it. Toni Morgan, junior, a 2-time All-ACC selection, now in her 3rd year.
It's a good thought. Stop on a dime, up and under, and get a good bucket. Good start right now for Georgia Tech. Getting the crowd behind.
Elbow jumper from Reagan Richardson, and her former college teammate Zoesha Smith rips away the rebound. They were teammates at UGA before transferring into the ACC. Right under pressure from Taina Mair. Now Morgan gonna try and break down here. Going down the right side, a little too strong off the glass. Good contest from Ashlyn Jackson.
There's the defense from Duke getting over. They're taking away the lane because, like we talked about, that rim protection is gonna be an issue that may rear its ugly head right now. And hopefully Nell Fortner can keep her team rolling after a good early start.
With Coach Fortner earlier today and said one of the keys to the game is there's a 3 down the chute from Reagan Richardson rebounding. Duke is one of the top rebounding teams in the country. Georgia Tech is too, but on paper, Duke a tad bigger, and for Coach Fortner really challenging her team to compete on the offensive and defensive glass. Kara Dunn goes up, double teamed underneath, and it's jarred loose, and it'll be Duke basketball. Good hands from Reagan Richardson. You know that's got to make head coach Kara Lawson happy.
And that's a huge thing with Duke is the active hands getting on top of defenders. They love to send 2 and just hound you when you pick up your dribble so they can just rip it out of your hands.
7 straight games, Duke has given up fewer than 60 points. As we said at the top of the show, Georgia Tech averaging over 80, and a turnover there on Duke's end.
Just picks up the feet of travel there.
There is head coach Kara Lawson. You can see on both these resumes, there is national team experience. I mean, these are truly two of the faces of the sport of women's basketball.
I mean, you see an 08 player, 3v3 coach, now a head coach, and now taking over for Duke. I mean, obviously, Lawson is someone you definitely know in this sport, and like you said, the international play as well.
Little floater from Wright, it drops. Chit Chat Wright, freshman from Atlanta, out of the Wesleyan School. Ashlyn Jackson wide open off the back iron, offensive rebound. Jaden Donovan rising up and then zip down low. Thomas in position, can't finish.
Georgia Tech that time with the good defense, getting right above the rim.
An offensive foul. Toni Morgan coming down a little too strong. You go back 5 years ago, Nick, both these coaches, they were on the television call for the national championship. You had Nell Fortner part of the halftime and post-game show, and then you've got Kara Lawson was on the call. So again, a really fun matchup with two titans of the sport.
Well, and that's what's cool about these coaches. Like I said, they've not just been great coaches, they've done so many different things in this sport to contribute to, you know, their amazing legacies.
The foul coming here, going to go against Zoesha Smith. And already we can see Duke wreaking some havoc there on the offensive glass. You saw Reagan Richardson flying in. Blue Devils nearly a 10 rebound difference per game between them and their opponent. Donovan, no-look feed, cutting underneath, and rejected on the reverse. Jackson wanted the foul. Morgan says, I'll take that and go the other way. Right, lets it fly. Oh, she buried it.
Wow. Talk about momentum switching in a second. Morgan block right on the other end.
Chit-Chat Rydar with 5 points. She had 5 in that win on Thursday at Virginia. Taina Mair probing. Richardson just inside the free throw line. It won't fall. And there's Zoesha Smith on the glass again. She's going to be critical for Georgia Tech. Now with 5 rebounds already.
She is keeping them up in the rebound margin right now. Like you said, these are two great rebounding teams, so it'll be interesting to see which way it goes.
All right, and Thomas can't hit the 3. Chit-Chat Rydar. How hot is she? Little heat check.
Not that hot, at least not
yet.
Seeing Fournier get ready to come in as well. Both these teams have 2 of the best benches, and obviously we know why. It's Carnegie and Fournier coming off and leading and scoring a lot of the ways.
Duke just 1 for 8 from the floor so far. Jackson running out of time. And it's not a shot clock violation. Duke seizes the rebound. They've got a second chance opportunity. Donovan, yes! The Yellow Jackets thought that was going to be a shot clock violation.
And that's the classic, just don't give up on a play. You play until a whistle and they make you stop.
Dunn feeds down low. Zoesha Smith again. She's been the best player on the floor in the first 5 minutes.
She is, and you love the beautiful ball movement. Duke is a team that gets a lot of assists, but right there, Georgia Tech spreading the love.
Donovan, an elbow off the chops of Smith. Delaney Thomas gets the bucket.
Duke comes right back with it. Jaden Donovan, the really nice find underneath.
She was so critical in that win over SMU. Coach Lawson praising the energy she got from Donovan as we have a foul as Tony Morgan going to the hole. She'll be at the free throw line when we come back. Georgia Tech an 11-7 lead. Both teams with a frenetic pace, dropping bombs. Chit-Chat, right? And how about Duke with his second chance? Jaden and Donovan, excuse me. Over the last 2.5 seasons, and they're trending in the right direction here in ACC play, Nick.
Yeah, they don't have that shot blocker, which is amazing. They've managed to still keep a good defense. They force teams 23.5 turnovers per game on average. They're giving themselves extra possessions, which helps on the offensive end. I mean, averaging opponents under 50 points per game in conference play. Unreal.
And on the season, they have forced over 20 turnovers per game. That's tops in the ACC, top 30 nationally. And to your point, when you lose Kennedy Brown at 6'6", Camilla Emsbo at 6'5", that's some pretty serious rim protection that you don't have returning. And originally, it looked like Ariana Robertson was going to fill that void, the 6'4" freshman, but after suffering an injury this summer with Team USA, she's unavailable as Morgan hits the first free throw. And so they've had to rely upon players like Toby Fournier to try and do the best they can there down low. And again, Fournier's been a solid shot blocker, but it's really been that perimeter defense that has stepped up.
I mean, Duke is second in blocks per game in ACC play, so they're managing just fine at the moment. But you're right, their perimeter defense is so good that That's really what makes this team special this season.
Second in the ACC in steals per game on the season. And we touched on those special freshmen. Now Fournier and Carnegie both on the floor for Duke and Georgia Tech respectively. But it's Taina Mair, the junior, dialing up a 3 from straight away.
Hey, when you feel good, you feel good. And Wright, straight on the basket, let it fly.
Now Chit-Chat Wright brings up the floor for Georgia Tech. 5 points in the opening 5 minutes for Wright. Carnegie, her first touch. Taina Mair drawing the tough assignment, trying to handle her on the ball, and now a double team off the pick and roll. Blackshear was calling for it, couldn't get it. 7 seconds to shoot. Wright pestered in the corner. Somebody's got to go up with it. Here comes Wright. And she's got it at the end of the clock. Count the basket. And she'll go to the line for a chance for a 3-point play.
That was such a great possession by Georgia Tech. They used the time in the shot clock. You're starting to get worried. Chit-Chat Wright constantly moving around, gets open. What a great pass inside. And then the finish, possible 3-point play.
And there it is. So Wright with 8 points now. She leads all scorers so far today. And we touched on that pass. Delaney Thomas, an elite front court player passer. And she has a tough assignment trying to slow down Fournier, and that time with the finger roll left.
To go back to Thomas, you're right. There's not many bigs who pass the way she does. Her eyes are always up, and if she has her shot, she takes it, but she does like to find her teammates. Really good at it, too.
Blackshear showing another screen. This time get it down to her. She goes up. Great pass from Danny Carnegie.
And if Carnegie can exploit that, Coach Fortner said they're going to try and double Carnegie right off the dribble on a back screen or something like that. We're seeing that. If she can find other players, it'll work out well.
And Duke's 3-point shooting, knocking them down here early. Now 3 of 5 as a team. Mair's got 2.
Starting well from beyond the arc, 60%.
As a team, Duke a little bit above average in the ACC, 36% from 3-point range. Carnegie off the dribble, no. And now Okananwa wants to run. Baseline, strong pass into the corner. Great movement in and out from Duke. And they're going to get a travel on Fournier. Coach Kara Lawson felt like there might have been a foul.
I mean, we're on the other end, but I thought there might have been a foul. Couldn't fully see the contact there, but Georgia Tech obviously happy. Get another possession and try to extend this lead.
Vanessa De Jesus has checked in. Duke continuing to employ that press. And Carnegie brings it up the floor. Final minute and a half here in the first quarter. Carnegie lets it go. Short, and Zoesha Smith whacks it. Prevents the live ball rebound, I suppose.
Just a spike, loaded up.
Now Duke, after a sluggish start offensively, they hit their last 5 shots after missing 8 of their first 9. Baseline drive, oh, nifty touch from Okananwa. That'll be Georgia Tech basketball, though. Oluchi Okananwa, 2024 6th player of the year in the ACC. She had an ACC career high 21 points against the Yellow Jackets in their regular season meeting last year. In fact, she led Duke in scoring both times against Georgia Tech, including that ACC tournament win for the Blue Devils.
Like seeing the Yellow Jackets.
Yes, she does.
She almost had a nice bucket there.
Oregon, ooh, a tad off there on the touch. Fournier the rebound. De Jesus, returning after a knee injury, kept her out all last season. What a three-pointer, it won't drop. And Smith, another rebound. Give her 6 here in the first quarter.
Duke's not afraid to let it fly right now. They're 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, and they have the opening, they have the green light.
So Richardson picks up the foul, she'll head to the bench. Ashlyn Jackson back in, she'll guard the inbounds from Carnegie. Jesus lost her footing for a moment. Blackshear trying to set up the ball screen again. Right, curling right side, trying to fade away and find space. She turns it over. Final 15 seconds. Jackson racing towards the hole. She earns a couple of free throws. That was nearly a highlight reel play, though.
Gets down the floor quick, and like you said, nearly kisses it off the glass through the contact, but this is what they do well. Chit Chat goes into a corner. Jackson knows Carnegie's available and really is one of the only options and can cut off that pass, get the steal.
Jackson, top free throw shooter for Duke, shooting close to 90% this year. And Coach Lawson talked a lot about how critical she is to Duke's success this year, that every time she takes the floor, she needs to be confident and aggressive. And she feels like she's gotten back to that these last few games after starting off the season so well. A little bit of a lull there in December for Ashlyn Jackson.
Well, it's amazing with athletes how much can come down to confidence and just playing, knowing that you're a good player. Here's the press here from Duke, trying to upset Carnegie.
Lets it go. And that's going to be in the first quarter. Ashlyn Jackson shutting down Carnegie there in that final possession. 5-0 run.
Hey, obviously they both don't mind playing off the bench.
And they've had plenty of success. Carnegie averaged over 20 points per game in ACC play. Taina Mair, her three won't go that time, gets her own miss. Adakunawa driving right through the lane.
And that's what leads to the second chance points. Number one in the ACC in offensive rebound percentage at 42%. They get on the offensive glass.
A 7-0 run now, spreading the quarter break. This gives Duke their first lead of the afternoon. Carnegie cuts, and she walked with it.
Called on the travel, looks like just moved a little too early after that pass. Unlucky, get called with the travel. Duke can build on a lead now, up by one.
Feels like they're starting to find a little bit of rhythm offensively. 7 baskets so far this afternoon on 7 assists. Mair feeds Donovan. And that one won't drop. Dunn with the rebound. Kira Dunn scoreless in that first quarter. She's just 3 points away from 1,000. With Dunn and Carnegie not scoring that first quarter, Georgia Tech's got to be happy they put up 18. Morgan driving down the right side, nearly lost her footing. 5 to shoot. Carnegie trying to find space, and she traveled with it again.
That defense by Duke is what makes them so good. It's what we've talked about this entire time. You saw it, they ISO Morgan. Morgan tries to take that one-on-one matchup. She can't, has to pass it out. And like I've said, once you pick up that dribble, they're on you, force you late in the shot clock, and another travel by Carnegie.
Donovan heaves it into the corner, right back to her. Going to work on Smith. Walling her off. Fournier curling around the right side off the glass.
You can tell this is going to be a tough matchup for Termes. Fournier just has this quickness around the basket that is really helping her get her buckets.
Termes dials up a 3. Won't go. And there's the rebound for Donovan. To your point, when it comes to Fournier, Georgia Tech, spoke with Coach Fortner today, the primary goal is just keep the ball out of her hands, because once she has it, she looks to score. And wide open, Okananwa misses. Second chance, no, but she will get a couple of free throws.
And lucky to get those 2 free throws. It should have been a free 2 points. Duke continuing to really move the ball around, and this is a really good team. They share the ball well. Best team in the ACC in assist to turnover ratio, and you're seeing it there when you find a wide open player underneath the hoop. You're getting them to rotate and finding the open player.
Oluchi Okananwa from Boston, Massachusetts, now in her sophomore season. Just a 63% free throw shooter, but hits her first. And now an 11-0 run for Duke.
Starting to pull away and hold on to the lead here. Make Georgia Tech play from behind. You can tell they've made them uncomfortable.
Smith over to Tony Morgan. Taina Thompson on the floor for Georgia Tech as well. Danny Carnegie to the bench. Morgan, tough take, can't finish, and there's Zoe Smith to clean it up. Now 6 points and 6 rebounds for Smith. She has been critical for Georgia Tech so far. Fournier flashes open with help from Smith. She rips it away. And she's fouled in the backcourt. Zoe Smith, she has been the engine so far for Georgia Tech, keeping them in the mix.
There it is on one end, Georgia Tech getting the putback in the bucket. And then on the other end, here's that steal. They needed this. You just mentioned that run right now for Duke. This slows it down. The 11-2 you see over the past 5.5 minutes.
Chit-chat right back on the floor. But Georgia Tech's 2 leading scorers in ACC play and on the season are scoreless so far. Danny Carnegie and Kara Dunn. Here is Dunn. And she'll get a chance from the free throw line. Foul's going to be on Delaney Thomas. That's 2 on Thomas.
Something to watch there for Thomas with the fouls, but for Dunn, we haven't seen her get too involved here early. It's really Morgan has been pushing the offense along with Chit-Chat right. Been able to get in the paint and get to the line where she's pretty good.
And Dunn in ACC play averaging 19 points per game. Team best 6 boards. 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Now at 998 career points for Kara Dunn. DeJesus, nice find underneath. Delaney Thomas finishes.
Right now, Duke, yes, they're getting a good amount of threes. They got 3 threes of 7 shots, but they're getting it done in the paint right now, finding a lot of open layups.
Wright gets to Termes. Morgan finds some space and hits the fadeaway from the free throw line. Tony Morgan, she's now got 6.
I love a pull-up too. A lot of people love threes, you love dunks. A pull-up two just looks clean. She does it there.
Trying to bring back the mid-range?
I like it. What, the Pete Maravich days?
Yes.
2 points only.
Yes. 7 different scorers for Duke. They've been balanced. DeJesus feeling her way down the left side. With back around. Okananwa, no, and Wright with the rebound. And Tony Morgan's got a shoe issue in the backcourt, just now making it up the floor. She's got it on fully now, and Zoe Smith, oh, she can't miss right now.
Morgan also gets the assist there. 6 assists right now for Georgia Tech, 9 for Duke. I said it backwards earlier. Georgia Tech, the best assist to turnover ratio. Top 5 for Duke as well. Both these teams really good at sharing the ball.
And fittingly, we're back even. Tied at 25. DeJesus. No, Termes the rebound. That's been the big story here early. Georgia Tech out-rebounding Duke now, 15-12. Both these teams very good on the glass. Tony Morgan still working on that shoe in the far corner. Smith, and that pass nearly too tall for Morgan. She corrals it. Walled off by Donovan. Termes can't handle the pass. She's got it, and that'll be a travel on Termes. Tied at 25. So far, this has lived up to the billing. Georgia Tech and Duke. Sunday afternoon in Midtown Atlanta. Sunday afternoon hoops. Great time for the family to come out. Georgia Tech and Duke tied at 25. And when you're facing this Duke off defense, Nick, it can feel like a real grind offensively. And Georgia Tech have had to lean on a couple of different cogs so far today.
They've taken away Carnegie right now, and Zoesha Smith, Chit Chat Wright have been so good for them. Being some added scoring because, you know, like you said, this Duke defense can overwhelm you. I said a moment ago that Georgia Tech didn't look comfortable, and they got to break through that. Smith and Wright right now able to be the helping hands.
For Duke offensively, they've distributed the ball well. Taina Mair to Jaden Donovan. That is now 10 baskets with 10 assists for Duke offense.
Right now, 12 points in the paint for them. Georgia Tech with more, but like I said, they've just been able to find the passes underneath the basket and get some easy layups.
Chit Chat right. And it'll be Georgia Tech basketball. Coach Nell Fortner, the charge to her team today is she needed them to be grown, physical. So far, I think we've seen that. And facing one of the top defenses in the country. In fact, it might be the top defense in the country if they hadn't played such a difficult schedule. Duke taking on multiple top 10 teams in the non-conference.
#1 out-of-conference strength of schedule.
Morgan hangs, can't hit. And that'll stick with Georgia Tech.
Just got to cherish these possessions right now. Down 2, you're getting towards the end of the half. You know this game's going to be a dogfight.
Yes.
Both these teams know.
Tough inbounds. And Kara Dunn can't handle it. It's ruled to be Duke basketball. The initial signal was in Georgia Tech's favor. And look, in defense of Kristen Bell making the call there, she took a basketball off the face. And now it is going to be Georgia Tech basketball. I mean, she did kind of wear it right here in the face here. That's tough to make a call. Next to the chest.
She was able to turn in time. Let's see who it touched. Couldn't really tell. It was right in front of us. And you see the follow through there. Hard to tell on a replay, but staying with Georgia Tech.
Smith looking down low. Dunn not there. Back out to Morgan. 2 seconds to shoot. Tall rebound, and this time Duke's got it. Jaden Donovan again. Bursting down the floor. Underhand flip pass. And last touched by Zoesha Smith. It'll be Duke basketball.
You see there Duke trying to go a little faster and ends up almost with a turnover, staying with the Blue Devils, but it's not as much their game. They want to slow it down and work from the half court and try and set up some plays to find the easy dunks and the passes down low and the give and goes.
Off the inbounds from the baseline. That's an easy 2 that time from Reagan Richardson.
Just a nice inbound play, quick pass and shoot.
Georgia Tech has put up just 7 points here in this second quarter. Duke, after giving up 21 points in the first quarter against SMU on Thursday, gave up just 25 points over the final 30 minutes and another turnover. That is the 3rd for Danny Carnegie, and they've all been travels.
It's a tough game right now for Carnegie. She can't really find a rhythm. She's 0 for 3 from the field and no points. And like you said, 3 turnovers. Like, this is not the start you want from her. If she can step up, this could be a very different basketball game.
Ashlyn Jackson. She's got 2 points, yet to make a field goal. Both those 2 points came at the free throw line. Taina Mair lets it go. No. Rebound. And it belongs to Georgia Tech.
It's becoming a tough game on the glass right now. 18 rebounds for Georgia Tech, 13 for Duke. No points for the Yellow Jackets in the last 3 minutes, just going cold.
Yeah, you kind of got to be fearless to rebound here this afternoon. These 2 of the top 3 teams in the league in rebounding, and they're physical. Morgan trying to find space off of Jackson. Into the corner, whipped around. Carnegie's got daylight. Won't go. Fournier the rebound.
This Duke defense, it's just not often that they make the wrong decision. The help is usually there, and they're having all the areas covered and making sure they have their teammates' backs.
And Mair called for the travel this time. But to your point, Nick, you know, Coach Lawson spoke with us before the game. In some ways, the loss of those two 6'5" presences and Kennedy Brown and Camilla Emsbo from last year, it forced the rest of the team to sort of step up their defensive game, and they benefited for that.
Because even though they don't have the rim protection, their perimeter defense is so good you can't take them off the dribble really. So it takes away a lot of options for you to get to the basket.
Right now, Georgia Tech hasn't even gotten south of the three-point line on this possession. 7 seconds to shoot. Morgan, she penetrates, kick out. Smith's got to let it go, and she gets it again. 10 points, 5 for 5 from the floor with 7 rebounds. What a first half for Zoe Smith.
It's what I like. Go to the baseline, a little pull-up two. And you saw it on that possession, just going back to the other side. Here's Smith, pull up, gets the bucket. But you mentioned before that, Georgia Tech couldn't really get inside the three-point line. And the second you saw Morgan get to the paint, immediately 3 players on her. So good job by her to find the bucket, but that's how Duke's defense can beat you.
Thomas with the rebound for Georgia Tech, final minute. Carnegie, transition 3, no. And now Duke the other way they can run. Baseline, Mair, yes.
Nice shot by Mair, just push it right off the corner.
.35 seconds left. Smith gets it to right, and now the ball is loose. Mair's got it. And it's knocked free from behind. Good hands from the Yellow Jackets.
What's been so hard for the Yellow Jackets right now is off the dribble handoff. Duke just jumps it right off the bat, and they are startling, honestly, this Georgia Tech offense and pulling the ball away, causing these turnovers. 7 turnovers now for Georgia Tech.
Wright trying to create one she can't. Duke can hold for the final shot here in the first half. Double screen, Mair, the jumper, no. And Carnegie had the rebound. Looked like a whistle.
Real shot I noticed where she pushed into the paint and tried to get her own offense. So I think they also need to just find the confidence to create again.
Chad Wright trying to go right to Kara Dunn, and there's 1,000 points for Kara Dunn. Right on the nose, junior at Georgia Tech.
We said she's got to get going, and right there, gets 1,000.
Does it in just 79 games.
It's unreal.
Richardson, backdoor pass. Delaney Thomas can't hit it.
Georgia Tech starting the way they want to. Already cutting into the lead, getting 2 good possessions and a stop on the other end.
Nice feed to Kara Dunn, and there she is, Nick.
She's coming out, and then also a great look from Thomas, doing what she does best to find her teammates.
That's now 3 assists for Ariadne Thomas, tied for the team lead so far this afternoon. A minute gone by in the second half. We're back tied at 31. Mair. She led Duke with 8 points in the first half. Morgan trying to shake Richardson. Can't get the finger roll. There's Zoe Smith again. She has been dominant.
That's her 9th board of this game. She's right there in double-double territory. But it was a nice move by Morgan. She had a wide open lane, couldn't get the layup, but that's why you pursue the glass, and that's why Georgia Tech's been so good on the offensive boards here today.
Zipped in down low. Thomas facing up on Thomas, drills it.
And a good answer there for Duke. Georgia Tech, you're at home, you're coming out of the half. You can't let momentum slip too much. So a good way to quiet down the crowd here.
Chit Chat Wright's three won't go. Georgia Tech now 1 for 11 from distance. Ashlyn Jackson in transition. Looked like she had a three-point play coming. Just couldn't get it to drop. And, you know, Coach Lawson, she hasn't minced words about it. They need Ashlyn Jackson to be one of the best players on the floor every night. That's her job.
You know, those great players have a lot asked of them. And Coach Lawson needs that from her best players. If this Duke team wants to really go into that next level of college basketball, where you get into that top 10, into that top 5, that, you know, they're really that top tier competing for national championships.
Reached the Sweet 16 last year. After the two made free throws, lead back up to 2. Ashlyn Jackson, 4 points today after averaging 17 over the last 3 ACC games. And good active hands from Ashlyn Jackson. The deflection leads to a turnover.
Steals haven't been a big thing right now. That's just the 3rd steal for Duke, and there's only 1 for Georgia Tech.
Thomas with the rebound on the defensive glass. Morgan pushing ahead to Smith, puts it on the floor. First time she's missed a shot today. And a foul there on Kira Dunn, a long ways away from the basket.
Yeah, Dunn just got her hand tangled in there, gets called for the foul.
Chit Chat Wright pressing up on Taina Mair. Ashlyn Jackson, tough shot off the dribble. Thomas boxes out and wins the board. Dunn racing and laying it in. Kara Dunn, she is woken up, 6 points.
That's exactly what Georgia Tech needed. I mean, when you got Zoe Smith playing as well as she is, you need some supplemental scoring.
Delaney Thomas finding some touch deep in the lane.
Now here's that fast-moving Georgia Tech offense we've seen. Thomas has stepped up on the glass here in the second half, which has really helped the Yellow Jackets.
Morgan guarded by Donovan, feeds Thomas. And an offensive foul going to be against Tony Morgan.
Unlucky there for Georgia Tech. It was a great play. Morgan, we'll see it again here. It's a good find, but just jumps, gets off her feet, and then Jackson on the other side can plant, draws the offensive foul.
Good help there. Tony Morgan going up against Jaden Donovan. One of the most versatile defenders in all the ACC. As Jackson, on the other hand, tries to hit a 3. No, Zoe Smith, there's the double-double. 12 and 10 now. Wright weaving. Smith barreling in. Kayla Blackshear short corner. No, there's Dunn on the offensive glass, goes up again. And she was harmed on the first try.
Blackshear short on it. You could tell wasn't too confident in that shot, but you got Dunn crashing underneath. A Duke player does fall, as that was Reagan Richardson, but Dunn got the shot and gets back to the line, her second trip today.
So Kara Dunn at the line, junior from Dallas, Georgia. And she's coming off a quieter game too. Had only 4 points against Virginia, which was her lowest offensive output of the season. But here in this third quarter, she's now got 8 points. Tied at 37. Okananwa finds Thomas, and she can't get it to go. She's been the hot hand here for Duke in this third quarter.
Great job by Smith to upset that shot.
Carnegie trying to find it. Not that time. Fournier the rebound. Mair winning the race down the floor. Here comes the press after a make. Carnegie needs some help. Taina Mair now with 10 points.
Saw this in the first half too with Duke. They almost noticed when the momentum was shifting, and that's when they really intensified that ball pressure, which they did right there.
Blue Devils continuing to tighten the screws defensively. Kara Dunn emerging for the Yellow Jackets though. The junior from Boston, Massachusetts, Taina Mair, has led Duke so far this afternoon. 10 points, 5 assists. And Coach Lawson had some comments earlier this week talking about how much she has improved defensively. And it's not just the steals. She does average close to 2 per game. But she's just in the right position more often than not. And then her natural skills take over defensively. That was one of the keys entering this year, is they wanted to make sure that she had a better feel for where she needed to be in given situations.
She's got that steal right now. 5 assists, 1 turnover. Those are the types of players you really need in these games to be steady and controlled.
Chit-chat right goes up. The ball is loose. Blackshear pounces on it in a shot clock violation. Coach Fortner patting her chest. Maybe she feels like didn't quite make it clear enough from the bench. The shot clock was that close to expiring.
Yeah, it seemed like there was some confusion on how they had to execute in those moments.
Three-pointer won't fall on the putback. There's Thomas again. Delaney Thomas here in the third quarter. She's now got 6 and 10 on the day.
29 rebounds, just total rebounds right now for Georgia Tech, but Duke is the one getting the timely ones right now.
Smith, guarded by the freshman Fournier. Blackshear with it. The left hand won't go, and there's a rebound for Delaney Thomas. And Fournier can't handle it. Chit-chat Wright's got it. Double team in the corner, gets it out to Carnegie. Extra pass, Blackshear, there's 2.
And if Carnegie can't help out in her normal way of putting in buckets and scoring at a high volume, that's a way she can still affect the game, finding teammates. Really nice find.
Thomas searching. Feeds it to Fournier, who corrals it. Smith over to help. And it's Georgia Tech basketball. Fournier under a lot of duress on that last possession. She hasn't scored in 15 minutes of gameplay.
Well, we talked about Fournier. Here's that steal, and this is going down with Carnegie was playmaking the way she is. See, she takes so much attention. Duke knows, hey, she might have 0 points, but she can still kill you on the offensive end. So you still want to give her the respect and attention she deserves, but she can use that against you.
3 minutes and change left in this third quarter. And a steal. And a foul. Richardson got her hands in, and Kara Dunn picks up her 3rd foul.
Once again,
4 on Georgia Tech here in the quarter.
Duke doing a really good job to cause the turnover and just to be such a pest on defense. I mean, Richardson not giving any room to get that pass in and let Georgia Tech keep their possession.
Okananwa shook Carnegie out of her shoes, gets her own miss, up again, and there's the roll. And Georgia Tech, a misfire on the inbounds. Ariadna Termes, she can't believe it, saying she wasn't fully out of bounds, and that is a costly turnover there for Georgia Tech.
That's really costly. I didn't even see it there, but like you said, just hadn't stepped fully out of bounds, and those little things that you don't think about like an inbound. There's a foul for Georgia Tech.
It's going to be a moving screen there on Reagan Richardson.
So Georgia Tech gets a little lucky there, makes up for what could have been a big mistake.
Smith wants to get rid of it. Nice pass to Tony Morgan, getting the pass to Okananwa. Georgia Tech briefly took the lead here in the third quarter. Duke back in control. Morgan lost it. Okananwa. Where does she want to go?
Team
Taina Mair, yep.
Team defense for Duke is just winning them this game right now. It's why they have the 4-point lead. The help defense is always there.
That's why they're 7-1 in the ACC. Under 55 points against every ACC opponent. Okananwa went up, and good closeout from Tony Morgan. She's fired up right now.
Morgan had really good defense. That's what forces Okananwa to have to take that dribble because she's just swarmed. She thought about the shot. Well, sometimes when you think if you hesitate for even a second, well, that changes the shot a lot.
Coach Nell Fortner wants a timeout before this inbounds. Less than 2 minutes left here in the third quarter. Duke with a 4-point lead. This has been tight from the jump. Be back in a moment. Plenty comfortable with the way they have defended so far this afternoon. Just continues that upward trend.
They're just so intense on the defensive end. They're right on top of you. They don't let you breathe as you're moving around. You see on the perimeter, they're right on top of who they're marked on, and that takes away options. On the steals, it's because they're not allowing their opponent to even get open on an inbound. They're staying right on their hip, not getting more than an arm length away, and it's causing some issues for Georgia Tech. And like, you look at a player like Carnegie, 0 points, has been just completely taken off the board. You imagine if she gets going a little bit, it's a different game, but Duke has done a really good job.
So out of the timeout, it'll be Danny Carnegie to inbound. She gets it into Smith, right back to Carnegie, who is still scoreless so far today, averaging 16 points per game to lead Georgia Tech. It's a goose egg thus far, and not anymore on the reverse.
And there it is, Carnegie getting her own there, had an ISO on the left side, decides to bet on herself, reverse layup.
So Carnegie finally on the board. Fournier, what a move, lightning quick.
And that's what we saw in the first quarter was Termes and Fournier. Fournier was a little bit quicker and got to the rim. After that, Georgia Tech did what Coach Fortner mentioned to us before the game, keep the ball out of her hands, and it was working.
Fournier, those are her first points since early in the second quarter. So Carnegie and Fournier, Georgia Tech's these two teams' leading scorers, been conspicuously absent lately. Smith, oh my goodness, she can't miss. Not quite a three, but that might be the longest two she's hit this year. Has not hit a three this season.
I thought we finally had our first second half three. Haven't had one since the first quarter.
Halfway down and out. Thomas on the offensive glass goes back up. And this time Carnegie rips it down. 3-on-2 for Georgia Tech. Transition three, no. Smith rips away the rebound, and she's got two more. 16 and 10. Zoe Smith, the game of the year for number 0.
When you're feeling it, you're feeling it. And she's got the right stuff. 16 points, 11 rebounds at the end of the third. Listen to this.
Nearly 4,000 in attendance today, only 1 second left to go. Richardson can't get it off, and that's the end of the third quarter. Georgia Tech with a flurry. Their three-point shot has not fallen. Duke's defensive intensity has delivered as advertised.
It's interesting because there are parts of this game that went exactly as we expected, and there are other parts of this game that did not go the way we expected. I mean, 1 for 13 for Georgia Tech from beyond the arc.
And there's Danny Carnegie with the rebound after Richardson misses the jumper. Carnegie got her first points just a minute and a half ago. High off the glass, a wild shot. Donovan the rebound. Mair wants to push. Richardson from the elbow, no, and Dunn the rebound. Georgia Tech, they have won the battle of the boards handily today. Plus 11 against a Duke team that ranks in the top 20 nationally. Nearly a 10 rebound advantage in a given game for Duke this year.
Georgia Tech knew they were going to have to be good on the glass, and they've executed that part of this game plan.
And a beautiful feed down low to Kayla Blackshear from Danny Carnegie.
It's like I said, if Carnegie can't affect the game with the way she can score, she can affect it in other ways. She's got 2 assists already in the second half.
Fournier top of the key. Mair gets it to go. That was wet.
It's just bucket, answer. Bucket, answer. Both these teams are up for the fight.
Mair leads Duke with a dozen. And for the 7th time today, we're tied.
And just for big picture, a huge conference game.
Blackshear tries to get it to Smith. The ball knocked loose. Here comes Duke. Another turnover. And Dunn able to rip it away and keep it in bounds.
What a defensive play by Dunn, getting back, getting the steal, and then Carnegie dribbles off her leg. And one official says going the other way. Duke takes it. And here's a look at it on the other end. Just Dunn gets to the ball first, and then also to not just let it go out of bounds, keep it in and keep possession for Georgia Tech.
Delaney Thomas has come back in. After that last turnover there from Jaden Donovan and Reagan Richardson, Coach Carol Lawson emphatically barking down the bench for Thomas to come back in.
Great double for Georgia Tech.
Forces another turnover. That's a travel. You see Coach Lawson having a powwow with Jaden Donovan there on the bench. Seven and a half to play. Georgia Tech looking for their first win over Duke since 2022. They've lost 3 in a row to the Blue Devils. Carnegie's been more of a distributor here lately. This time off the dribble, no. Jousting for the rebound, Carnegie nearly has it, but it's Fournier. Jackson, the other end, thinks about a 3, whips past Smith, and it's stolen away.
Much needed turnovers forced here by Georgia Tech.
Carnegie just heaving it towards the basket.
You can tell she's trying to get hot or just find something here, but the shot's just not there. Foul on the floor.
It's going to be against Richardson. That's the 3rd foul on Richardson. Ashlyn Jackson's going to get a breather as Vanessa De Jesus comes in.
Carnegie also a breather for Georgia Tech. Brings in Chit Chat Wright, which might be just the better play right now. With Carnegie just unable to shoot. At Duke, Carol Lawson emphatic that it's Duke ball. Staying with the Yellow Jackets.
I want to see replay on that, but that was close. Either way, Georgia Tech keeps possession. Right off her foot. Oh my goodness, Georgia Tech somehow hanging onto the ball in this possession. Morgan, a wild chuck. And it'll stick with Georgia Tech. Less than 3 seconds to shoot.
Gonna need a good inbound play. Set up by Fortner and Georgia Tech. Just a quick shot with 2 seconds left on the clock. 2.8.
Morgan's got to go up. She does. Not close. Fournier the rebound. DeJesus zips it ahead to Richardson. Okananwa with a teardrop, yes.
Big bucket. We were stuck at 47-47 for a while. So now the Blue Devils take back the lead and get another lead change in this one, number 5.
Wright looking for help. It's Blackshear. Kira Dunn with 9 points today. Out to Smith, a long 2, won't go. Another rebound for Okananwa. On the other end, what a move, the finger roll, we touched on it. She's played her best basketball as a Blue Devil against Georgia Tech. Had 21 points against the Yellow Jackets last year. She's now got 10 this afternoon.
Nice underhand finish. You sure love seeing Georgia Tech on the schedule.
Blackshear, tough shot. Dunn trying to get the offensive rebound. It's a battle for it, and it will be Georgia Tech basketball. They say it went off the lower half of Delaney Thomas.
And once again, not happy on the Duke sideline for that one, but Georgia Tech needing a bucket here. Like you've mentioned, neither team's been able to pull away. The largest lead, like you said, was 6.
Doing some part to the fact that neither team can hit a 3 as Chit-Chat Wright is fouled with 7 seconds to shoot. Georgia Tech is just 1 for 16 from 3.
I mentioned this to you in the break as well. I think at halftime, the free throw line hasn't really been of much influence. I mean, both teams shooting well in the opportunities they've had, but fouls have not been a huge storyline.
There's Toni Morgan on the baseline inbounds.
Good answer there from Georgia Tech. Good play on the inbound. Morgan had a defender on her, but physical bucket to elevate and finish.
Under 5 to play. Jackson to Thomas. Delaney Thomas now with 12 points today, 8 in the second half.
And that goes back to the ball movement for Duke. They've been doing really well in this game, finding their teammates and getting some early ones. Oh, skates.
Blackshear trying to set the ball screen. Morgan gets doubled. Smith, tough shot, decided to pass the last minute. And a collision down there in the corner. It's going to be Duke basketball. And we will step aside. A 4-point lead for Duke, just over 4 left to play. We're going to step aside. We've got a great finish coming up. Tensions are high. Virginia, and she has come up big so far today. Delaney Thomas, first year as a starter.
Yeah, she's been big, adding some scoring. She's got 12 points, doing it on the boards as well with 6. And the putback, the offensive rebounding she's giving, she's in the right spots, doing all the good things for Duke with the lead right now.
She's tied for the team lead in both points and rebounds today.
Because a lot of her buckets haven't really been her going off the dribble or finding her own offense. She's in the right place, right underneath the rim. Her teammates are finding her, and that goes back to what we've talked about this whole entire game, which is Duke has been moving the ball so well and sharing it really well. Coach Lawson talked about it. She said they would try to recruit unselfish players.
Tough shot. Okananwa gives Duke their largest lead of the afternoon. 6 points, under 4 to play.
That was such a nice move, using the pivot foot to get around and then finishing while she's facing away from the basket.
Carnegie, and a jump ball. It'll stick with Georgia Tech.
Here's that bucket, just stops, uses the pivot, takes the step. Carnegie could not move, had to just go straight up and takes advantage of it.
Tough look, Carnegie battling underneath. Mair tries to save it, she can't. Still belongs to Georgia Tech.
The Yellow Jackets just need an answer right here. Gotta end this drought that they've had. They're one of their last 10 field goals. Need to see something go in.
6 seconds to shoot. Carnegie gives it away, the extra pass. Dunn's got to let it fly. It won't go. And then a foul coming here on Kayla Blackshear. Tough fall. Thomas a little slow getting up.
Blackshear knew at the moment it happened. Foul going against her. Blue Devils, like you said, biggest lead of the game so far for them, and it's interesting to see where this game goes from here. It's never been able to stretch beyond this.
Georgia Tech just 1 for 17 now from 3 after that last miss from Dunn. Okananwa tries to take Blackshear off the dribble. And a travel. Considering that neither team has made a 3 since the first quarter, Nick, both defenses have got no second thoughts about just crashing into the paint.
It's true, it's taken a part of this game just completely out of the question, because two teams who you usually would worry, especially for Georgia Tech, that they're gonna kick it out. You're right, they can just swarm them inside in the paint.
Carnegie just 1 for 11 from the floor. But there's Zoesha Smith again. She goes up and it's knocked loose. That was Mair. Under 3 minutes to play in a 6-point lead for Duke.
There's been multiple times you've seen Georgia Tech, they've gone up and almost gotten the initial offensive board. They just can't come down with it.
Georgia Tech is just 2 for 15 in the fourth quarter. It's Fournier going up strong. No whistle on the shot, but then a whistle afterwards. It's gonna go against Duke. It's gonna be the third foul on Duke. It's gonna go on Oluchi Okananwa. The Duke bench, they wanted a foul on Fournier going to the lane or going up for the basket.
That was tough for Fournier. She went through a lot of contact for that one. I mean, it's one of those, probably could have called it, wouldn't have blinked an eye, but not enough to get a whistle.
Georgia Tech, they need a basket. Haven't scored in nearly 3 minutes now. Zoesha Smith, their leading scorer, with 16 ball in her hands. To Thomas. Who's going to take the shot for Georgia Tech? 8 seconds to shoot. Morgan off balance. Great defense from Fournier. Coach Nell Ford, her hands on her head.
Georgia Tech's just having to take what Duke is giving them, and it's not great options shooting-wise. And like you said, over 3 minutes, we're getting towards 3.5 minutes without a bucket.
The reverse, back of the rim, Thomas saves it, and it's collected again by Mair. What a play from Duke. Richardson's 3 partially blocked.
Great block there by Zoesha Smith, getting out to the perimeter to get that ball back for Georgia Tech after second chance opportunity for Duke.
Georgia Tech has scored just 4 points in this quarter. They trail by 6 with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. They've got to score. 6 seconds to shoot and a long way from the basket. Smith looking for help. Wright's got to chuck it off the front of the rim. Fournier rebound. The Duke defense absolutely drowning the Yellow Jacket offense.
They're forcing them to take shots they don't really like chucking up that 3. That's not a good shot at this time in the game, but it's what they have to do with how intense this defense is, and then also with the time left in the fourth quarter.
Georgia Tech has scored just 2 points in the last 7.5 minutes. That was a Tony Morgan layup. So 53.5 ticks left. Duke has been so good in this fourth quarter defensively. There's a look at your situation summary. Duke has the one foul to give. There's 16 seconds on the shot clock. Nick, you play this out, you play standard defense, try and go for the stop, but after that, you still got to foul 3 times before you get in the bonus.
I think Georgia Tech has been able to turn over Duke at times. So I think you probably try and play it straight up for a little bit. Then from there, you can foul. Like you said, 3 fouls to give. Duke with just 1.
Okananwa. 8 seconds to shoot. 5. Mair driving. It's off the mark. Offensive rebound. No. Dunn rips it down. 35 seconds left. Georgia Tech calls timeout.
Good job by Dunn to get that rebound and not allow the second chance points. And once again for Duke, who's been really good at generating those throughout this game. But like we've talked about, Georgia Tech needs a bucket. That's what needs to happen, is they got to start hitting shots and preferably hitting threes with the deficit right now. But that just hasn't been how this game has gone for them.
Yellow Jackets in this fourth quarter. You mentioned they've scored just 4 points. They are 2 of 17 from the floor. And again, have not hit a 3 since the first 5 minutes of this game. They're 1 for 18. So it'll be Thomas, Wright, Morgan, Smith, and Dunn on the floor. Starters for Georgia Tech. Out for Duke, Mair, Fournier, Richardson, Thomas, and Okananwa. Inadvertent buzzer there, but they'll keep play going. Chit chat right, a long range 3, way off the mark. Thomas saves it. Dunn goes up and she's fouled.
And even though you want that 3, it's a great job by Dunn to at least get to the foul line and have an opportunity at 2 points to cut into this lead. But once again, the 3 ball is just, it's not the 3's day in general.
And keep in mind, Rusina Gustaneta not with the team, dealing with a personal family matter this afternoon. And really, since early December, she's been shooting 40% from 3. She hasn't been a piece that Georgia Tech has used necessarily every night, but boy, they could use her tonight.
And she's good in clutch time. Sent that Virginia Tech game to overtime.
So Dunn misses the free throw. Second one, got it. So a 5-point game with 27 seconds left. Another timeout here. Georgia Tech, they need to create a steal. They have just 1 team foul in this fourth quarter, so they're going to have to foul 4 more times just to get to the free throw line. Yeah, I mean, you look at what a grind this fourth quarter has been. We haven't seen a basket for either side in the last 3.5 minutes.
And that's the thing about Duke, is it's not that they're the better offensive team right now. As of this very moment, they are, but it's been defense. I mean, defense has been the story of this entire game, is this Duke defense has grinded down Georgia Tech and taken a team that averages over 80 points a game and is bringing them down to right at 50.
The most points that Duke has given up in an ACC game this year is 55 points. That was in a win against Virginia. Now Duke is just taking a timeout. Elle Fortner. Message to her team. Trying to create that steal. And for Duke, this would be a really impressive win, considering we've talked a lot about Danny Carnegie not being herself. Ashlyn Jackson hasn't been herself tonight. She 0 for 8 from the floor with 4 points. You've got Toby Fournier, your leading scorer, just 6 points tonight.
This game's been so interesting because for Georgia Tech and for Duke, it is not the normal players that are leading the way here. Zoe Smith, as we talked about. Dunn is starting to get more involved with 10 points, but Fournier, 6 points, Richardson 5 points, and then as you said, Jackson 4.
Okananwa misses the layup. Zoe Smith's got it, timeout, and it wasn't a steal, but that was almost just as good. And Oluchi Okananwa cannot believe she just missed that shot. Would have made it a 3-possession game.
It's really tough because you could look at that moment and could change everything. Great play off the inbound, get her open through some picks, just didn't finish. Gives Georgia Tech the timeout and they'll take the ball out of it.
Still only 22 seconds left. Georgia Tech is out of timeouts. Duke has 2 left. And for Zoe Smith, by the way, she just tied a career high 13 rebounds.
Yeah, 16 and 13 double-double for her. Just a crazy game. 8 of 13 from the floor, too. And she was 5 for 5 at one point. It's really been this fourth quarter, second half where that has gone down. But still, career game for her.
Georgia Tech is just 2 of 18 from the floor in this fourth quarter. They have been outscored 10-5 in the fourth quarter, which doesn't fully tell the story of what we've seen the last 10 minutes because it's been frenetic pace, defensive intensity, and it's just been a battle trying to get the ball through the basket. Morgan's going to inbound. Georgia Tech needs a quick bucket. Into Carnegie, around to Morgan, under 20 seconds left. Georgia Tech's got to shoot it. Carnegie fires it. 3, no, rebound Mair. And she'll try and run at the clock, racing up the floor, and she's fouled at midcourt with 9 seconds left. Georgia Tech still needs to foul 3 more times just to get Duke to the line. Feels like if Duke can successfully inbound the ball, they'll be able to hop on the flight later this afternoon with a win.
Yeah, it's tough when you have that many fouls until you're sending them to the line. It just doesn't make the whole late game fouling as easy because time is clicking off. You just had 9 seconds, now you're at 7.8. It's not going to give you much time to do anything once you're putting Duke at the line, and then you're also hoping for some misses.
Only 8 seconds left. Pretty tall hill for Georgia Tech to climb. For Duke, this would be their 4th win over a top 25 team this year. And they'll have another opportunity a week from tomorrow night against NC State in Raleigh on the Deuce. Yeah, that will be a one to watch there on a Monday night showdown in Raleigh-Durham. And then they head home, Clemson, Miami, Wake Forest, perhaps a little softer portion of the schedule before the big showdown there of February 17th against Notre Dame. Meanwhile, the Yellow Jackets look at their upcoming schedule. Road heavy, 3 of the next 4 on the road. Both these teams are off this coming week, which is well deserved. 5 seconds left. Richardson gets it up to Okananwa, whose shot is blocked. 1 second left, a jump ball. It'll be Duke basketball, and the Blue Devils are going to win here in Atlanta on the road and pick up their 5th straight win.
A hard-fought one. We've talked about the defense. 48 points is what Duke has allowed as a defense on average in ACC play. Just allowed 50 against